By the end of this effect, your audience will realise that paying attention sometimes isn't enough. So, grab a deck, hit subscribe for more amazing tricks, and let's uncover the incredible. Okay, so as ever, let's just kickstart by taking a look at the effect itself, a demonstration of just how crafty cards can be. So you're going to take a deck, and from here, you're just going to remove the 4 jacks and the 4 aces. Now you're going to explain to the spectator that the cards can be really crafty, and in order to demonstrate this, you're just going to set them a quick challenge. So you're just going to take 2 of the jacks here and 1 of the aces, and you're simply just going to ask the spectator just to keep their eye on the ace. All they need to do is just follow that card. So you're going to place the ace down onto the table, and then you're going to place 1 of the jacks either side of the ace. And all the spectator has to do is just keep their eye on the ace, just to follow this card. And now you're just going to give the cards a simple mix. So maybe just moving these 2 cards here, and maybe just also these 2 cards here. You can now just ask the spectator to simply point to the card they believe is the ace. Now they're probably going to point to this card just here. And once they do that, you can reveal this card to be a jack. So that's obviously not the ace. Maybe the ace is down on the other end just here. You can turn this card over and that's the jack, which means the ace somehow is the middle card just here. You can point out that that highlights just how crafty the cards can be, but also actually that was quite difficult because we weren't using many of the cards. And so you can explain that we're going to try another challenge, but this time we're going to use more of the cards. We're going to use all 4 of the jacks, and we're going to use all 4 of the aces, just to make things a little bit easier. So just taking the aces and the jacks, you can place those onto the table, and you can place the rest of the deck to the side. Taking the cards, you can just remind the spectator that this time we have 4 aces. However, for this round, you're going to ask them not to think of an ace or try to find an ace, but this time just to think of 1 of the jacks. And this can be any jack that they like. They just need to clearly picture it in their mind. Now, whilst they're choosing a card, you're just going to take the 4 aces and count these to the bottom of the pack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just highlighting that this leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4 jacks. And you're going to place the first jack on the table. Remind the spectator they need to be thinking of just 1 of the jacks really clearly, not to tell you, but just to be thinking of it. You can once again just count the 4 aces, which are now back on top of the pack. 1, 2, 3, 4, which now leaves us with just 1, 2, 3 jacks, and you can place the next jack on the table. At this point, you can just ask the spectator to confirm whether they're thinking of 1 of the jacks, not to tell you what it is, but just to confirm they're really clearly picturing it. And once again, you can just count the 4 aces. 1, 2, 3, 4, which now leaves just 2 jacks. 1, 2, and you can place the next jack on the table. So with just 1 jack to go, you want the spectator to be really clearly focusing on their card, picturing it as clearly as possible. As for the final time, you're going to count the 4 aces. 1, 2, 3, 4, which leaves us with the final jack just here, which you're going to place on the table. Asking a spectator to continue to picture their selected jack, you can just move a few cards around in order to mix things up a little bit. So let's say we just move the cards around just here. And with that done, you can just emphasize for the spectator there's absolutely no way that you could know which card they're thinking of. So for the very first time, you can now ask the spectator to name their selected jack. Let's say in this instance, they name the Jack of Spades. You can now ask them to point to the card they believe to be their selected card, the Jack of Spades. Let's say in this instance, they point to this card just here. You can now take this card, turn it over, and reveal it to be, well, an ace. Now that's interesting, so maybe the Jack of Spades is somewhere else. So you can now ask the spectator to take a second guess to point to another card. Let's say they point to the card on the end just here. You can now take this card, turn it over, and reveal it to be another ace. Now that's really interesting. You can now ask the spectator to take a third guess to point to one of the 2 remaining cards. Maybe that's the Jack of Spades. Let's say they point to this card just here. You can now take this card, turn it over, and reveal it to be another ace. So maybe the Jack of Spades is the final card on the end just here, which you can take, turn over, and reveal to be yet another ace. So that's 4 aces on the table and not a single jack. Now the spectator might struggle to explain what's just happened here, but you can actually explain it quite easily. The 4 aces just happen to be the cards on the table because the 4 jacks just happen to be over here on top of the deck. And with that, you can reveal 1, 2, 3, all 4 of the jacks. A super fun effect that's also super easy to perform. So stick around because now I will show you exactly how it works. Okay, so let's take a look at the secret to this effect. You can take any shuffled deck, and from the deck you just need to remove the 4 aces and the 4 jacks. You can actually use any cards that you like, but I think the aces and the jacks work quite well. Now for the first phase, you're just going to take 2 of the jacks and 1 of the aces and just place the rest of the cards to the side. Closing up these cards, you're just going to challenge the spectator to keep track of the ace, the bottom card here. Now in the act of taking the ace from the bottom of the pack and placing it onto the table, you're going to perform a simple move known as the glide. So as you turn the pack over here and move the cards towards you, the fingertips here are lightly going to grip the bottom card and just slide it back towards your hand, exposing the second from bottom card, the jack, just above it. And from this position here, you're going to pretend to take the ace. Actually, you're taking the jack, and you're going to place this onto the table. You can now take the bottom card, which is the ace, and just place this one side of the jack, and then place the other card on the other side. If you like, you can just give the cards a simple mix. Ask the spectator to point to where the ace is. They're obviously going to point to this card here, and now you can reveal this to be a jack. And you can then reveal the other 2 cards. For the next phase of the trick, you're going to use all 4 of the jacks and all 4 of the aces. So take all 4 of the jacks and just place these on top of the deck, and then take all 4 of the aces and just place these on top of the jacks. Now you're apparently going to take all 4 of the aces and all 4 of the jacks and place these cards on the table. So actually here you're just casually going to take 7 cards instead of the 8 and place these on the table, which means that you secretly have 1 jack remaining on top of the deck, which you'll just place to the side. You're then going to take your 7 cards here, and as an extra convincer, you're just going to count off the top 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, placing the other cards on the table, keeping them square. You can then just quickly show these 4 cards to be the 4 aces as you place them back on top of the pack. You're now going to take the pack and count those 4 aces to the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Explaining that leaves 4 jacks, you're now going to count the jacks to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 4th jack though, you're going to take this card and place it face down on the table. You're now going to repeat the process of apparently counting the 4 aces to the bottom of the pack, highlighting that that now leaves 3 jacks. You're going to count those cards to the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Again though, you're going to take the final card here and place this on the table. And you're now just going to repeat this process for the following 2 cards. Again, counting the 4 aces to the bottom and counting 2 more cards for the 2 remaining jacks. 1, 2, again placing the final card on the table. For the final count, again just count what should be the 4 aces and then taking what should be the final jack and just placing this card on the table. You can now take the 3 remaining cards here, which at this point should now all be jacks, again keeping them square, and just place these on top of the deck. And all that's left to do now, in any way that you like, is just to reveal that the 4 cards on the table just happen to be all 4 of the aces. And for the final twist, you can now reveal that all 4 jacks just happen to be on top of the deck. And there you have it. Remember, learning magic like this doesn't just entertain, it sharpens how you think and what you believe is possible. So keep exploring and keep on building the confidence to succeed, one trick at a time. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep the magic alive.